The truth about Twitch thoughts. The Twitch thought epidemic and its consequences. Big surprise. Guys, this is a crazy surprise that this got posted, get this, on my Reddit of all places. Can you believe that? There's a video critical of women and it was posted on my Reddit. Here we go.
Years ago, I made a video about how if you don't like seeing lewd things online, simply close your eyes and walk away. But what happens when you do close your eyes and walk away, but no matter where you walk away to, you bump right back into it. Whether it's on Twitter, TikTok, or even Twitch.
Oh.
Dasani water. I'm gonna get canceled for this. All these years, and this is what's gonna get me canceled. I don't want to hear it from any water snobs, okay? Where are my fellow Dasani heads at? But anyway, do you like—
I only drink tap water, and I don't like drinking plain water from a bottle because I feel like the fecal matter and dead animals in tap water and glass makes it taste better.
The red hair? A lot of the Twitch thoughts that I'm going to be talking about have red hair. I felt like I was missing out. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are talking about the Twitch thought epidemic and its consequences, as well as OnlyFans culture and the desexualization of sex. I promise this won't make sense.
Desexualization of sex?
Maybe. Like, all my videos are just kind of messy brain vomit. I mean, I guess that's one way you could be sure I'm not plagiarizing. When I start to sound smart and make sense, that's a red flag. I figured out how to use ChatGPT. So for those of you who are unaware, Twitch is a video game streaming website, or at least it used to be, where people—
I don't really think people. Yeah. How's this streamer doing on Twitch nowadays? I remember this guy was really big into StarCraft. Does he still play StarCraft? Yeah, whatever happened with that? Anyway, Twitch isn't really a gaming website anymore. It's primarily a gaming website, but even the CEO doesn't do gaming streams. So, like, I mean, you can't have a website where, like, the CEO says it's not a gaming website. Like, one of the most popular categories isn't gaming, like just chatting. Like, it's clearly not a gaming website. Now, for, like, a period of time, and this is what's kind of weird about, like, people that have, like, this perspective, is, like, Twitch has been around for, like, what, 12, 13 years? Like, if you include Justin TV. And the amount of time where Twitch actually required you to be playing a video game is tiny. It's like 3 years, 4 years. So it's not even the majority of the time that Twitch existed that these were the rules. But, like, people always go back and look at that. At least it used to be. Yeah, but, like, whenever it used to be a gaming platform, it used to not be a gaming platform as well. Because the person who created Justin TV created it to do IRL streaming. So it's like, I don't think that you can make an argument to tradition whenever the actual original tradition is not gaming in the first place. I don't think it's a strong argument.
Often stream themselves playing video games and interact with their viewers. But recently, in the past few years, it has been invaded by women. But not only women, naked women. Now you might be asking, shoot,
unfortunately not naked
what
anymore.
Is wrong with that? And normally, you'd be correct.
Yeah.
But Twitch is a website for kids, advertised for users 12 and up, and predominantly used by young boys. And the
where does it say right here? The Twitch demographic, not even counting our 16 to 24. I think this is disingenuous. I don't agree with this because, so you're looking at 16 to 24, and are we assuming that the 41% are in between 16 and 17? Because the majority of 16 to 24 is an adult male that can go and see a strip club. So I think it's a little bit disingenuous to include, like people that are 23 whenever you're looking at a statistic trying to make an argument that it's hurting kids. Even if you assume that the same group of people, the same amount of people are consuming content, like, it's divided evenly, like this 41% is a fraction of that. Like, you're looking at 10%, something like that. Not counting 14 to 16, she's assuming? Well, yeah, of course, right? And, like, who knows who's watching that, who has any idea? I mean, I think that one big factor, and this is something that a lot of people who have this conversation, I think that they don't really acknowledge this. And I think that it's evidence that the conversation is actually not a principled conversation. Is that if you go, and I'm gonna look something up, I'm gonna show it to you guys. Pornhub most searched terms. So if you look right over here at Pornhub, this is, they release a lot of like infographics every single year, naturally, right? And so the infographic here that they've released, this is for 2023. If you look at all of the most popular games that are searched for on Pornhub, these are all games that are for children. Fortnite is for children. The Chun-Li isn't her model from Street Fighter 6. It's her model from Fortnite. Like, look at Overwatch. Overwatch is kind of not, right? But Overwatch is also like the fucking gold standard for video game porn. You have Minecraft, Pokemon. Look at this. So, like, these are some of the most popular games. Like, you have Sonic. Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog right here. Like, who's looking up Sonic the Hedgehog? Probably kids. And so, I think the truth is that kids are always going to be able to access, like, not safe for work content. And I think that the focus that people put onto Twitch, as Twitch has some sort of a unique responsibility to prevent kids from seeing it, now, I don't think is fair. And I also don't think that people want to solve this problem either. Because if people wanted to solve this problem, the way you do it is with ID verification. But if you have ID verification, you also lose internet anonymity. So do you care about this problem? Yeah. Do you care about it enough to lose your anonymity? No, I don't. I think parents should exercise better discretion in taking care of their kids. So that's what I think. I think that the amount of kids that are watching Twitch is a pretty small amount. And also, a lot of the content for, I would say, like, young adult boys, like, 13-year-olds, I think that a lot of that's on Kick. Like, if you go watch, like, one of these Kick streamers, you want to see a lot of 13-year-olds, go to one of their streams. Like, kids are watching people like Aiden Ross. They're watching people like Kai. Like, Kai's on Twitch, for sure. But the majority of the W community is on other platforms as well. That's the kind of content that they're really watching. Like, whenever I was 14, I was watching bum fights. Who else was doing the same thing? Like, let's be honest. Boys watch way worse. I know. I did as a boy. Yeah, exactly, right? And so, like, I feel like this is very, like, I don't think this is a principled argument. I don't at all. And also, like, there's a lot of websites, like, for example, on Twitter and on a lot of other social media websites, you're able to make an account on that website if you are if you're 13. So, like, any argument that, like, I think that there's, like, actual porn on Twitter where there's not really actual, like, hardcore porn on Twitch, right? I mean, maybe there's, like, one person who's streaming it for 20 minutes and they get banned. But for the most part, there's not really as many of them. Now, she's also using, give me 1 second. Let me actually just show this again.
Advertise for users 12
Yeah, so this right here, this is a statement that's, this is taken from the Google App Store. It could be the Apple App Store as well. The Apple App Store is not the actual terms of service to use the website. I don't really care about, like, what the number is that's advertised on an app store. An app store is a third party. So, well, let me explain why it's important. Because it can say 12 and up, but you actually can't make an account if you're 12. You can't. Like, there's a literal law that prevents companies from having people under 13 on social media. Yeah, and guys, don't say that because you will get actually banned. If you say that you're, like, really young or something like that. And so my point with this is that I feel like all social media has this problem, and also nobody actually wants to solve it. I personally don't think any children, I don't think anybody, I'm going to be very clear about this. I don't think anybody under the age of 18 should have any social media in any capacity unless it is a curated site that is made explicitly for children, like YouTube Kids. I don't think that a 15-year-old should be able to have an Instagram account at all. For any reason, period. Like, that's what I think. So I don't agree with this, and those are the reason why. Didn't you agree that this is a problem, though? No, I don't. I actually agree that it's a problem, but for a different reason. So, like, the problem that I see is that being on social media exposes children to predators. And it also does so in a way that makes the predators able to be predators without any level of accountability. And a great example that I can use for this is that if you look at TikTok lives, you'll see a lot of girls that are dancing. And I don't know how common this is, but it was like a very big epidemic. And these are girls of extremely questionable age, right? And you have these guys that are in the chat that are just watching and trying to pay them and DM them and stuff. It's horrible. It's really disgusting. So that's what the real that's the real harm. Like seeing a girl with like a black bar over a bikini, that's not really a big deal. Like who gives a fuck about this? I'm talking about like guys that are actually trying to meet underage girls in real life. And that's why I think that kids shouldn't be on social media. This is just like some fucking like, this isn't even a footnote. It's not even part of the conversation. Whataboutism? Well, no, it's not whataboutism. What I'm saying is that my perspective on this is actually not informed at all by Twitch thoughts. It's something that I think is a lot bigger than that. Do you think Microsoft Teams would be under the category of social media? I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I don't want to get into like specifics. I mean, I'm just talking about like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Like I'd have to look into that. Why doesn't Twitch allow full nudity then? Probably for advertisers. I think that's really the main reason. They don't do it for advertisers. And the truth is that, like, for example, if advertisers were okay with full nudity, then they would be okay with it. It's the same reason why there's a lot of nudity, as far as I know. I remember growing up, I'd hear this a lot, is that, sorry, it's probably like 10 minutes and the video's a minute. It's a minute long. In like Europe, there's a lot more nudity and sexual content on television. I heard this a lot growing up. Those of you guys that are in Europe, is that true? Yeah, this is true, right? Okay, so why isn't it in the US? Well, I think the reason is because it's a cultural reason, and it's because advertisers in this culture are responding to the people in the culture, and the people in the culture don't like it. That's the reason, right? Puritans? Yeah, exactly. And so I bet, like, with a lot of companies that are based out of Saudi Arabia, they are probably not advertising on places even like Twitch. They're probably advertising on places that are extremely curated because they're marketing to an audience of people who wants that experience. So I think it's really driven by advertisers. And I want to say one more thing, and then I can keep going to the video. I think being driven by advertisers is incredibly horrible. I think the idea that what we see and don't see on the internet is driven by a for-profit corporation that is amoral by nature is incredibly unhealthy and very dangerous. I'm sorry, but I don't want to have a for-profit corporation that uses slave labor and, maybe worked with the Nazis in the 40s. I don't want to have them be dictating what I can and can't see and what morality should be on the internet. I think it's disgusting. And so whenever people make an accusation or like they make an appeal like, oh, think of the advertisers. Oh, well, the advertisers will leave and that's it. As if this is a good thing because they're going to get their way. I disagree. I think the idea that advertisers have a say in what is effectively controlled free speech on the internet indirectly by funding it is incredibly dangerous. And it's been massively harmful for people talking on the internet and online discourse. It's been tremendously harmful. I think the best example of that is COVID recently. So that's what I think. And
predominantly used by young boys. Mm-hmm. And the question on everyone's mind is, are these evil Jezebels preying on today's youth? Or are they simply the product of capitalism? Clever, sneaky women taking...
I don't see why it can't be both. Obviously, women are trying to prey on men. Clearly, that's obviously what the goal is. They're trying to attract an audience of men to watch them and give them money. That's clearly what's happening. Now, would they do this in a socialist country? Probably, yeah. There's girls that just like the attention. Some girls do it for free. I always couldn't believe it whenever girls would post pictures of their boobs on the internet for free. Like, wow, okay, great, this is awesome.
Advantage of people
like finding a
living
$5
under
bill.
a brutal system in order to selfishly make money. Oh yeah, that reminds me.
It's a quarter.
Before we get into this, let's quickly get into today's sponsor. When you're browsing the internet, you may think all your personal information is safe on there. Well, you're wrong. Unfortunately, it's become all too easy for hackers and data brokers to find all our personal information, including our full legal name, phone number, and even our address.
True.
It's gotten so bad that every 14 seconds, someone becomes the victim of identity theft. True. And people who are active on social media, you guys, are more likely to have their data stolen. So I'm excited to tell you guys about today's sponsor, Aura. Aura is a company that is dedicated to helping keep your private information private. They identify data brokers that are exposing your information and automatically submit opt-out requests on your behalf, which extends...
I don't know why that yet. Like, in my opinion, I don't think you should opt out of this. I think you should have to opt into it. Like, how is this even legal?
to robocalls, junk mail, and telemarketing lists. Data brokers are legally required to remove your info if you ask them, but they make it super hard to do so, and that's where Aura comes in. Aura also looks after your email and passwords to assure you your information hasn't been involved in any data breaches. Aura also offers other tools to protect you and your family, like financial fraud protection, VPN, a password manager, parental controls, and even protection from malware. It's super easy to set up and gives you all the tools you need in one place for an affordable price. So if you're concerned about your personal information being out there, check out aura.com/shoeonhead or click the link in the description down below to get a 2-week free trial and see if your personal information has been leaked online. Big thank you to Aura for sponsoring this video, and as always, thank you, the viewer, for not skipping the ad. Now let's get back to the video. So about 2 weeks ago, this tweet showed up on my Twitter timeline. What's going on with Twitch? Which showed a streamer wearing no shirt, swinging her fun bags around slightly off camera every time she got a donation. So for strictly research purposes, I went to Twitch to see if this was real, and surely enough it was. And it wasn't just one streamer, it was many. It was multiple. It was the entire home page. And then when you went to click on one of the
She's right about this, but it's disingenuous, and it's Twitch's fault that she's being disingenuous about it. So the problem really is that if you actually look at the live channels that are active, you'll see that almost none of them are content like that. Like, this is just some guy, yeah, this is kind of this, but he's just got some girl on camera. I feel like that's not really the content of the stream. If you scroll down and you're looking for a stream like this, and I'm searching by viewership, naturally. Like, I'm not searching for content that's like this, but I'm saying, like, of all the streams that are on the platform, these are all of the streams, and where's the problematic content? Yeah, you're logged in with your cookies. So let me explain why that's not true. You're making a great point if you're talking about recommended, but I'm not looking at recommended. I'm looking at a sorting function that is listing all streams that exist from highest to lowest. So the cookies that I would have no effect on that. But here's what the problem is. And I know you guys are bringing this up, and you're right. And this is the point. This is where she's right, too. Is that if I look at, and they've actually, to be fair, they have fixed this. But for a very long time, whenever she made the video, and there is one of them, right? There's this girl, and she does it all the time. And so anyway, the problem really is that, and I'm on incognito, but sometimes in incognito, you still get cookies. How about I go and use it on Microsoft Edge? Because I don't really use Edge. And so I'll go ahead and I'll just open that up. And we'll try to open it on there, because sometimes there will be cookies that will overlap. Give me 1 second. Let me go ahead and pull this up, just so we can get a better idea. Okay, so you can see I'm on a fresh new browser, and I don't use Edge at all. And you can see, obviously, like, there's some recommended channels. In some sort of miracle, my channel is on the recommended list, and we're gonna look at recommended for you. And then we're going to go to live channels. So it seems like the problem where a lot of the different content that is sexual in nature being recommended to users is not as prevalent. It still exists. Like, you've got this girl right here, and you've got this one right here. But in a general sense, it's not as prevalent as it used to be, which is a good thing. And so I think Twitch has been trying to, and I think they've even said this explicitly, that they have been trying to remove these streams from recommended. Because the truth is that I could be an underage user, and I think that it is a very fair thing to say that Twitch is not a website where porn is its primary focus, and Twitch should not be promoting porn. It should not be recommending pornographic content. And I understand that this is not pornographic content, but everybody who's watching this stream is watching it because they want to fuck this girl. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it. They're using it for porn. And so my point is that whenever you have a system that's recommending these videos and these streamers, and they're doing something that's sexual, that is a big problem. And that's the point that I'm making, is that I think that she's overstating it, and she's doing it in a way that I think is dishonest. But is it really dishonest whenever, if you open it up in incognito, and this was the case for quite a while, and you just got spammed with these videos? No, she's not. So it's like it's misleading and it's not misleading at the same time.
It just took you there. No verification needed, no login required, nothing. And the whole internet pretty...
To be fair, there's no verification needed to access most porn websites either, other than clicking, yes, I am 18.
Much agreed this was insane. Not everyone, we will get to that, but most people agreed this was crossing a line. Because of all the outrage, Twitch changed the rules.
They did.
Not to fix the website. They changed the rules in order to save the Twitch thoughts. Twitch actually doubled down and made it so twerking, pole dancing, and artistic nudity was allowed. Artistic nudity. Right. So obviously, Twitch is run by
Sims.
Well,
the reality is, like, I don't want to see anybody get banned for looking at a sculpture that Michelangelo made. But whenever, you know, all of the good, you know, the good thinking, you know, fucking soccer moms that came up with the idea of, you know, artistic nudity, their artistic nudity, they weren't thinking of the Rule 34 website, okay, guys? They weren't thinking of 2 girls, 1 cup. They're thinking about, like, you know, some Renaissance painting with a woman with her boob out. It was not really well thought out. It's art, bro? Well, why is every form of artistic nudity on Twitch women painting their boobs? I just think that's crazy.
We knew this. Anyway. Artistic nudity, so, like... Can you glue googly eyes?
Why are you uptight about boobs? I'm not. I think it's fine. I don't care. Like, I would be okay if Twitch just allowed porn on the website. I don't give a fuck because I just don't want to watch it. I think that people should just be able to opt out of it. It's pretty simple. Like, I don't care personally. But I also don't like to be... I don't like to have my intelligence insulted as if I'm not seeing what's clearly in front of me. It's very obvious that these girls that are doing body painting streams are doing it because it shows their boobs. That's why they're doing it. They're not doing it for the artistic reason. They're not doing it in order to create something that's special. They're doing it to create porn. The people that are watching it are jerking off to it. They're not being inspired by it. Well, they're not being inspired to be artistic because of it. That's just the truth. And again, I'm not against this, but at the same time, I also don't want to be told that I'm not seeing what's in plain sight.
Eyes onto your you do like a little meat spin on camera with googly
there's another one,
and that would be considered cool and fine because it's art, right, Twitch?
True.
Why am I still doing this? So then VTubers, animated YouTubers, took advantage of this new artistic nudity rule and started streaming their avatars butt-ass naked.
It's called hentai.
And it's art.
And it's art.
That's
Only
right.
for them to get banned while the Twitch thoughts remained. Clearly, 2D girl discrimination. A few days later, Twitch finally...
And this has happened with other girls, too. Like, for example, Vey got suspended because of a... I'm not even kidding, like a certain type of bikini that her character model had on, while at the same time, real girls were wearing the exact same type of bikinis. Like, there's really clearly no logic in this. And this is something that I've criticized Twitch for before, is that Twitch actually has no logic or principle behind what its rules are. The only logic or principle that Twitch has is responding to community backlash. So, like, there's no real, like, guiding light of why one thing is against the rule or one thing isn't against the rule. They're just making it up as they go, and if people get mad about it, then they change it. And that's a very bad thing to have. Knee-jerk reaction? Yeah, exactly.
Banned the Twitch thoughts for a day.
If you can't do the time, don't do the crime.
Oh, true.
Okay, time's up.
This has been going on for a very long time. From hot tub streams to ASMR ear licking. Twitch has just become
I wouldn't call it ear licking.
a cesspool for this stuff, especially in the past 3 years, following a pattern I have been seeing online. A huge increase of OnlyFans models and everywhere. And it isn't just my observation, it's a fact. There are many studies that came out that show pornography and pornography addiction increased significantly during the pandemic, especially for young people, and hasn't decreased since. And the amount of people making content on OnlyFans has skyrocketed.
It's gotten so high. I saw a statistic that said 3% of young women in America have tried OnlyFans. Because OnlyFans released its statistics of the amount of people that are on the platform, and then somebody looked at how many young women are on OnlyFans, and I think about, bro, that's a higher drop rate than Invincible. Like, what? Oh my god.
Locked in our houses absolutely did something to our brains.
Get that to 20%?
You used to have to go out of your way to see this.
You don't want that
stuff, and now it's everywhere. Yeah. Now compare this to how I talked about this issue a few years ago, where I would make fun of people for complaining about. This is like walking into a strip club and being like, get your horny asses out of here. The difference is now everywhere is the strip club. It's to the point where even
I don't think that that's necessarily a problem. I think the problem is that people aren't able to filter it out, and the websites don't do a good job curating this content to avoid people that are trying to push it in front of you. Like, for example, like a lot of the girls that, and I think this is a very extreme example, and I don't want people to like really think that I believe this, but I'm just using it as a thought exercise. So imagine if a person, like, you know, you're talking about something, you're at a Magic the Gathering store, and then somebody comes in and they start doing what these girls do on social media. Or a guy comes in and starts doing what these girls do on social media. Well, they'd be arrested for, public indecency, for exposing themselves, for all kinds of things. Like, they would be arrested and this would be a crime. And so I just want to say that the way that these girls insert themselves into completely innocuous things by trying to push their porn into it, if you were to apply this same standard to real life, they would be in jail. Rightfully so. Now, real life isn't the internet, but I think it's a good thought exercise if we really think about what is this really like. Is this a good thing or not? I'm not saying they should be banned for doing it, but let's be honest, if it was real life, they'd be banned from public for doing it. They'd be in jail.
Meme accounts on Twitter are being paid to discreetly advertise OnlyFans pages.
This is so fucking annoying. I actually think that, like, should Twitter ban these people? Like, probably not. But goddamn, like, I really wish sometimes they did. Because to be fair, guys, they are violating a law by not disclosing that it's an ad. And so what was always my rule for what should cause somebody to get banned from social media? If they are actively using social media to break the law, and this qualifies.
And you can't even block the
a lot of them now put
accounts that show
Smart.
up as ads on Twitter. Great website, Elon. 13
you guys
plus.
get ads on Twitter? What? Does nobody have uBlock Origin? Yeah, I think this is very fair. I'm glad that she's bringing this up, because I actually really appreciate this in the video, because she's actually talking about the fact that Twitter has this exact same problem. Because, like, you talk about, I feel like it's unfair. People criticize Twitch all the time, but every other social media platform has the same issue. Like, I think TikTok, it's worse, personally.
By the way. And anyone who points this out is called a prude or a conservative. If you have an issue with naked women making softcore on a website full of children, you're the problem. How does
I don't think that it's full of children. And I don't think that children existing on a website means that every other adult has to censor their speech and their expression because children could be present. These are adult spaces that children are inserting themselves into, and at a certain point, the parent should be responsible for what the kid does. I don't like this idea that I want to censor and neuter the entire internet because some parents are unable to take responsibility for their kids. I find this to be outrageous, and I'm not going to censor myself on a public platform because some people don't want to take care of their kids. This is outrageous. Like this is like it's so. It's like what they're saying is like we want our cake and we want to eat it too. We want to not supervise our children, and we also want you to censor yourself and not be able to talk about or interact with certain things because those things, we don't want our kids to see it. So it's like it's not enough that they can do whatever they want, but they have to make you do what they won't do themselves. It's so absolutely narcissistic, it's insane and entitled. So absolutely not.
Overall well-being of society affect you, bigot? Most of the internet seems to agree that
I think the overall well-being of society is not necessarily affected by kids going on these social media websites and seeing this content, but I do think that the overall well-being of society is affected by these kids going on social media websites. I think that social media is a negative force for children. It doesn't matter if they're seeing porn or not. Like, that's just straight up. Like, I think it's bad anyway.
Thing was wrong, but there were a lot of people mad at me and others for pointing out the obvious. So we're going to respond to some of those critiques from people who disagree on this subject, and then we're going to talk a little more deeply about all of this, because I feel like it's a little deeper than the Twitch thoughts.
No way.
The Twitch thoughts are just a symptom of a disease.
They are.
Why doesn't Twitch just make a new 18+ site? They do this on Twitch because the market is already saturated on actual porn cam sites. They won't stand out. They can find a larger, younger audience on Twitch. What I'm trying to say is, these should be banned. Okay, so my tweet was a little harsh, but...
Okay, so, well, I'll wait for her to respond to some of the criticism, but I think that, again, like, if you're a McDonald's, you don't want to advertise McDonald's by giving out free hamburgers. These girls do softcore porn, and they do non-nude sexual content, so they can get people to buy OnlyFans for the sexual content. If they do the sexual content on the platform, it removes the need for people to pay them for it. So they're using it like it functions as a gateway into it.
Am I wrong? Blaming these women for what Twitch allows and calling them accomplishes nothing except morally grandstanding that you think you're better than them. So first of all, I am better than them. So are you. So is everyone who doesn't make on Twitch. And second of all, I don't
really think that anybody's better or not. I don't really think about that. Like, I try to avoid the mindset that I'm better than anybody else because of something I do or don't do. Now, there's like some crazy exceptions, but I don't think that it's enough that somebody is sitting in a bikini on a website. Like, is this really something that I'm going to think that I'm better than this person? I don't really think so.
Calling them whores does nothing. I did it because it was funny. These are grown-ass women toying with the TOS. They know what they're doing is wrong. They know they're walking a fine line. That's why they're here on Twitch and not on the hundreds of adult websites that exist. If a parent, they're so
and also, like, I think that calling somebody, like, it's like calling somebody a prostitute that's selling sex. Like, yeah, that's clearly what they're doing. It's not a bad, like people say streamers are like street performers or like beggars. And yeah, they're kind of right. Like, I don't like existing in a world of platitudes and euphemisms to hide reality. Of course that's what they're doing. That's fine.
Dangerous to you, maybe you should lock yourself in the cave. Cry more, little bro, and tell your fellow bros to stop thinking with their dicks. Hello, fellow bros, to stop thinking with their...
There's a lot of girls that, and this is actually not girls, this is a common strategy, where people take your argument and then they turn it into a radical extreme that is clearly not what you believe. It's ad absurdum argument, right? It's like they're turning your argument into something that's absurd, and that way they're arguing against that instead of what you actually think. It's very stupid.
Hello, fellow bros. Stop thinking with your dicks. Brace yourselves. The incels about to lose their minds and act like women are ruining Twitch. Lol at the men in these comments admitting they are not attracted to women. I'm sorry you don't like hot women. Maybe work on the internalized misogyny. Nah.
Well, I will address, I think that that commenter is right, that these girls are not ruining Twitch. I think that that's just a factually true statement. And I think that really, if like you look at the amount of people that are on the platform, you look at the amount of people that are consuming this content, it's really such a small percentage, it's not even worth considering. So it's a super, super, super tiny. I don't think they're ruining Twitch either.
Sorry. If you don't like huge oiled up milkers bouncing around on a Twitch stream, I'm just gonna assume you hate women.
I think she's kind of memeing, right?
Straight men even like women? Oh, you're not sexualizing women? You're not just gooning to every woman you see? What do you, hate women? What are you, gay? How did they manage to reverse engineer being sexist into not going awooga, awooga, honk, honk every time they see a woman? Incredible. Huge fan.
I don't think that's necessarily I don't think that's necessarily a double standard. I think that it's about the sexist part is whenever you are sexualizing a person against their consent or without their consent. That's why it's okay for girls to take pictures of themselves for OnlyFans, but it's not okay for somebody to do upskirt photos in public. It's about consent, and it's about a person having autonomy over their own body and being able to control how people perceive them to an extent. Like, I feel like that's obvious, isn't it? No, I don't know. Yeah. Girls sexualize muscular men? Yeah, but like if we watched the clip of a girl touching Henry Cavill inappropriately, everybody would say it's cringe and bad. Or saying things about Henry Cavill or like Jason Momoa, like everybody agrees that's bad. Like obviously, like yeah, there's some like really stupid like girls on Twitter that think it's good. Same as like some guys think it's good if you like, you know, whistle at girls, like a catcall them, like that's bad too. I think that like a person being sexualized against their consent is clearly the problem. I don't think that there was ever an argument that women shouldn't be sexualized. It's more an argument that women in public spaces that aren't trying to sexualize themselves being sexualized, not only, again, usually without their consent, but I'm mainly focusing on against their consent, that's a bad thing. There's never an argument that women shouldn't be able to control their own sexualization of themselves.
Of these mammoth milkers, but I do worry about the dynamic and weirdness of women who are essentially sex workers interacting with and asking for donations from chat on a site largely used by young men. Feels like a race to the bottom.
It is.
When Vosh and I, the people who talk about f***ing Pokemon, are saying things have gotten weird, I think that's proof that things have gotten weird.
I'll be waiting for the Power World video.
As a sex worker, I agreed. I dislike the blurring of adult and all ages platforms like Twitch and TikTok.
I agree. I absolutely agree. The solution is to ban kids. And this is only like, if I were to make, like, let's say, I this is just, you know, just as a visualization. This part right here is the issue we're talking about in terms of the reasons. And all of the rest of this is something completely different. Like, this problem is like a tiny fucking minuscule issue. It's not even the size of the smallest slice whenever you get a pizza that's not cut the right way. It is tiny. That's subjective. I don't know. I mean, like, is it really though, right? Because I think that like having kids be subjected to or exposed to actual predators online that are trying to like molest them in real life. I mean, bro, like how's that not worse than a girl with like a bikini on with a black bar over it? Like that's like, come on, is that really subjective, man? What is this? What are we talking about? But it's on a scale of bad. It is on a scale of bad. And that's why I think the solution is to just remove the actual, that's why the solution is to remove the symptom, sorry, the disease, which is the kids. It's kind of a funny way to say it. The disease, which is the kids, and not just the symptom, which is the sexual content.
I also don't know what men expected when it's so successful either. I don't know, I guess men expected women not to get borderline naked on a website occupied with children, maybe? The bar is really not that high. There is a market for literally everything. That doesn't make literally everything excusable. If you give your kid unrestricted access to the internet, that's a you problem. Parents have to take some level of responsibility over their child's online content consumption.
I agree.
So I agree with this. Of course I agree with this. Parents should absolutely be monitoring what their kids are looking at online. The issue is Twitch is advertised as a website for them. It is advertised for users 12 and up. So parents will naturally assume
so is Twitter. I mean, so is every other social media website. But I think like any person, like if you exercise even a small amount of critical thought, you would be able to clearly distinguish that there are a lot of types of content, not just sexual content, that are all that kind of stuff. That doesn't make it okay. Well, it does, actually, because what I'm saying is that it doesn't make it okay, but it doesn't make it special either. And what I'm saying is that if you have a website and this website has content that's not good for kids, but the website also has advertisement towards kids, are they advertising that specific content towards kids? Like, for example, YouTube Kids, and YouTube advertises towards kids, and there is sexual content on YouTube. Do you see kind of what my point is here? And I would also agree, I would also say that watching like traumatic big events, like, you know, like a car blowing up with people in it, that's something that I wouldn't want kids to watch either. Twitter's 17 plus? No, it's not. You can make an account on Twitter if you're 13 years old. That's not true. But you can't expect a parent to know about Twitch, and YouTube and Twitter are much bigger. So your logic is that the smaller websites have to moderate more than the larger websites because parents are stupid? I don't agree with that. I think that's backwards. It's the parents' job. And I also think I think, again, like, these websites shouldn't be allowed to have kids on them. Like, and just to expand on that a little bit more, I'll pull this up. Do you know how, like, for example, whenever you're on Twitter, and like Elon did this for a while, and if you open something up whenever you weren't logged on to Twitter, it wouldn't show you the tweet. It would only show you a login to Twitter to see it. I think that all social media websites should be like that. Kids will always find a way around it. I agree with you. I think that kids will find a way around that. But I don't think that that's an argument to not take a reasonable precaution and to hold the companies to a slightly higher standard. I think that this is a problem, basically, like, it's a society problem with, like, the fact that girls feel like they need to do this. I think it's an economic problem with the fact that people can't make money and live properly and live lives that are fulfilling. And so they're doing OnlyFans for money. I think it's also a problem with the companies that are exposing kids to pornographic content for money. And I also think it's a government problem. And more important than any of those, it's a parental problem. The parents are also more responsible than anybody else because at the end of the day, it's your responsibility. It's your kid. So I don't think that you should really approach this problem and say that any one of those things are the actual causal factor, because they all are. So whenever I'm seeing this, it's not necessarily that she's totally wrong, but I think it's like the fucking story of a blind man and an elephant. Like, you're just looking at one part of the animal and saying, oh, well, I know what the whole animal is. No, I think that this is like a small issue. And even if you solve this part of the issue, the other parts remain and they will still be a problem. Why not chip away at it one problem at a time? Because I don't think it will work. That's the reason why I don't think it'll work. I have to admit, social media became an inseparable part of our life. There's nothing to discuss. It's now part of our new reality. Why do we want to exclude people under 18 from something that's a big part of life nowadays? I mean, can't you make that argument with driving? And can't you make that argument with alcohol too? I mean, I don't really understand that. I don't agree with that. I think that those two things are a tremendous, that they play a tremendous role in our culture and environment.
That the website doesn't feature like this. I think that's a pretty reasonable assumption to make. Like, I don't have to sit and watch Nick Jr. constantly with a 10-year-old just in case Peppa Pig decides to go Girls Gone Wild. It's
well,
safe.
That's because Nick Jr. is called Nick Jr. It's made for kids. It's explicitly made for kids. Like, that's totally different.
To assume that is not going to happen. So yes, you should be monitoring what your kids are doing online, but this isn't like a kid going onto an 18+ website. This is a kid going on a website.
I also don't, like, what about, like, ratings for video games? Like, how do you guys feel about that? Because, like, you have, obviously, like, we all know that going online is, like, a almost voiding of the warranty of a rating for a video game, right? And, like, a lot of video games say the rating for this game does not include what you could experience online. And so, like, what's the logic in, like, there's, for example, like, kids can watch content for Grand Theft Auto, and Grand Theft Auto is marketed as for adults and not for kids. But why is that somehow okay? And again, it wasn't, right? I mean, watch any Fox News segment from the 2000s. It absolutely wasn't. How is that really that much different? I don't really think it's a big difference. I'm sorry, I really don't. Like, I think that there's a difference. It exists, but it's not large enough to where, like, I think one is okay and the other one isn't. I think it's a situation where they're either both bad or they're both good. Or not good, but they're both permissible.
Website that is advertised for them, that is made for them. So this is in big part the website's problem. A lot of people were saying that the solution to this would be making Twitch 18+, which I agree makes perfect sense to do, but the thing is, Twitch won't make it 18+, because that's what drives away advertisers. Lots of advertisers won't advertise on websites that are 18+.
Naturally.
It's too risky, it's
She's
bad
right.
for their brand. And Amazon, the owner of Twitch, needs more money, of course. Same reason Twitter isn't being made 18+, because at the end of the day, the richest men in the world...
Is Twitch really made for kids, though? No, Twitch isn't made for kids, and I don't think that Twitch has ever been a safe space for kids. And I think that any parent who lets their kid on Twitch thinking that it's a safe space for kids because there's video game content on it is doing a disservice to their kid.
Need more money. And apparently, Twitch is going bankrupt. No wonder they want to keep the Twitch thoughts on the platform.
I made a whole video about that. I can refer back to that, but my end resolution on that is that Twitch is massively beneficial for Amazon, and there's no way that Amazon is going to get rid of Twitch.
So, I didn't even know that Twitter was only 13+ until embarrassingly recently. Elon.
Every social media platform is 13+, because that's what's required by law. Because none of these companies actually care about exposing kids to porn. They care about following the law.
I beg of you, either make Twitter 18+ or get rid of the porn. I personally think the former is the better idea because I'm tired of seeing unsolicited opinions of minors on the internet, and I just don't get tired of seeing images of strangers.
Yes, that is the actual fine print that nobody talks about. I don't want to hear about a 14-year-old's opinion on Palestine, okay? Like, please, ban them.
Up on my Twitter timeline while I'm scrolling in public. Always a joy. But think of the children aside, Twitch is just not a website for this. There are thousands of other websites for this. There are so many, so why do these women have to do this on a website not for this? Well, it's simple.
This is actually a really good point. I really like this. Somebody said this in chat. I'm going to pull it up. That's why they made it illegal for minors to enter adult clubs, because the clubs didn't give a fuck. The reason why it's illegal, the reason why strip clubs don't have kids in them and, 14-year-old guys is because it's illegal. It's not because the company doesn't want to have kids in there. It's because it's against the law. This is not a chicken and the egg situation. This is like a cause and effect situation. It's a direct thing. It's because boobs are more dangerous than guns. Well, nobody's saying that you could sell 14-year-olds guns either. But let's use that as an example. Why does Walmart not sell a 14-year-old a shotgun? Because it's against the law. That's the reason. Responsibility? No, I don't think so. I think it's because it's against the law.
Because the websites that are made for this stuff are already oversaturated. The market is full, and basically these mids are not going to stand out on a dirty webcam site where there's thousands of other people doing exactly what they're doing. But when there's only a few dozen on Twitch doing it, they're more likely to stand out, get more followers, make more money, and attract an audience that wouldn't normally go on those other sites.
Right.
Unfortunately, in this case, a much younger audience. I remember in like 2000...
Again, I think that that's just a very weak argument. Because if you go and you look at Pornhub and the most searched for video games are all games that have an audience of primary children, like Fortnite, Minecraft, Pokemon. Like, I think that's just, like, again, like an argument for a younger audience is just not true. And I think that you can just look at the observable trends on porn websites to see that they are massively frequented by very underage people.
8 or so, I did a fan meetup, and most of the people that came were in their 20s, in college, in their 30s.
It's hard to take her opinion seriously when she's saying she's better than other women and calling them mid. I mean, yeah, I could see how somebody would be offended by that. Yeah, sure, I could, yeah, definitely. Like, I'm not part of that audience, so I don't really take it personally because I'm not a chick and I'm not doing this. But if you were, yeah, for sure, I would be like, well, what the fuck, right?
But there were like a few 12, 13-year-olds, 15-year-olds with their parents. And I was just like, oh no. Like, it just didn't even occur to me that people that young would be watching my content or interested.
I know, I see sometimes people show me, they're like, oh, my kid's watching your content. I'm like, oh. To be fair, though, there are, like, no kids that watch this stream.
In my content. But just the fact that people that age knew about me was so scary. So I just have to wonder, like, how are these people
CatDany
not
13
feeling that way?
videos.
Like, I didn't purposely go out of my
15.
way to attract that audience, but these people are going out of their way to attract that audience. If they weren't...
I don't think that they're going out of their way to attract an audience of kids. I don't think that's necessarily true. But I do think that obviously they're going out of their way to attract an audience of people that aren't consistent, that aren't looking for porn. They know what they're doing. Yeah. They are doing it on Twitch. Yeah, but I don't think that doing it on Twitch makes them a, I don't think that promoting sexual content on Twitch means that you are trying to show it to kids. I don't think that's the way it works. That's a jump.
They wouldn't be doing it on this website. They would be doing it on the websites this stuff is for. What makes it possibly even grosser is the fact that
But she is right that going on, the girls are doing it on Twitch because, number one, there's less competition. Number two, they have to do less in order to compete. And number three, there's more people on the websites. Live Jasmine isn't as big as Twitch. Like, that's just the reality. So it's like, if you want to go fishing, well, you want to fish where the fish are, right?
Uses in-game money, meaning a kid could use their parents' money to buy Twitch bits or whatever the and then use those Twitch bits in order to get these women to interact with them and to shake their and their parents would never know. Many people suspect this is the reason
Yeah, I don't agree with that either. I think that if your children are using your credit card without your consent and you don't know what you're spending, what they're spending your money on, this is not something that I refuse to blame this on anybody else other than the parents. It is outrageous that it is even a question.
Which made that change, but I don't know. It does line up with Twitch's MO. They will do anything to keep these women on their platform. They are their cash cow. They bring in the big bucks. After all, there is a market for this. Men. Takes two to tango.
I don't know why she's saying that. So let's talk about the ways that that's not true. So number one, the reason why Twitch wanted them to categorize them on the hot tub section is primarily because each different section on Twitch has a different type of ads that are associated with that section. And advertisers probably, in the same way that Google AdSense selects advertisers based off of keywords on YouTube, Twitch probably allows different, different advertisers to either advertise on or not advertise on certain platforms or certain sections. So I'll give you an example and we'll look at it right here. So I'm going to compare this, and even Call of Duty has violence in it, so I'm going to skip that. Let's look at EA Sports. I think this is a pretty fair example. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to look and see, are we going to get an ad for this game? Let's see if we do. It looks like we're not getting an ad for this one. Let's go ahead and look at a few more. Let's see how many ads we get for this. We could actually be having some problem where we're not seeing ads. Let me look for an American one. Yeah, okay, so the reason why we didn't see an ad on the first two is because these are people that are on Twitch, but the people that are marketing for them are marketing in another language. So because I'm marked as an English user, I didn't receive an ad because I would be less likely to convert with that ad. But the moment that I actually go to an American stream, I'm immediately getting an ad. And you think about it, if you're an advertiser, you obviously want to have regional marketing. So it would make logical sense that somebody who is, speaking Spanish doesn't want English users to see their ad because they don't know what they're saying. And so let's go ahead and let's look at slots, for example. We're going to pull up 3 of these. And these are all, to be fair, this is also a different language. So let's just look at these guys. Are they going to get am I going to get an ad for this one? I'm not getting an ad. Am I going to get an ad for this one? I'm not getting an ad. Am I going to get an ad for this one? I'm not getting an ad. Why is that? It's because slots, another category similar to slots, they don't have the same amount of ads on them because they allow advertisers to not put ads on those websites. Not put ads on those streams. And this is the case. We can do a one-to-one for this as well. ASMR might be in between. I'm not really sure. Let's look at one that's very sexual. Maybe this one. Are we going to get an ad? We're not getting an ad. And the reason why we're not getting an ad, and you can look at this for yourself, by the way. Obviously, I'm not going to go through 50 different ones, but my point, I think, is pretty much proven. But if you want to prove it even farther, you can look these up yourself and figure it out yourself. And so the idea that Twitch isn't banning these people because they're making Twitch money doesn't make any sense, because Twitch makes most of their money from advertisements, and the people that are advertising aren't advertising on those streams. So it's like Twitch isn't making any money from them. The majority of the money these girls make, they make it through an aggregate of, let's say, OnlyFans subscriptions, subs. How much money do you think they're making with subs? So, subs is a good point. Let's go ahead and let's pull up one of these streamers that has subs, and we'll look at how many subscribers they have. What's the biggest one? I'll pull up the top 3. Morgpie. Oh, she's playing a game right now. Does she have her sub counter up? And again, you see how, because she's in the PAL World directory and she's not doing anything pornographic or problematic, she has an ad. Because that's the way the Twitch ad system works. And so let's see if she has any of these problematic. Yeah, she has an underboob cam. Yeah, that's kind of weird. You're definitely right. But other than that, let's see if she's showing how many subs she has. Looks like she's not. And so anyway, what my point is that these girls don't get a lot of subscribers. Because who here wants a badge of honor that you watch one of these streams for pornographic content? Nobody. So people don't buy subscriptions to their stream. They buy subscriptions to their OnlyFans. That's just the way that these things work. So, yeah, these girls aren't getting in massive amount of subs. They're not making the website huge amounts of money. They're spending their money elsewhere. Yeah, they're spending their money elsewhere on the same people. Like, let's be real, guys. And defend it? Well, I'm not. You're just wrong. How am I wrong? Yeah, no, that's fine. How do you think that I'm wrong? No, I'm not going to ban this person. They're not being rude yet. And I'm willing to listen to other perspectives. But I know a lot about this. And I think I probably know more about it than he does. But so that's why I'm saying, like, you're telling me I'm wrong. How am I wrong? Let's pull up the top subscribed channels for proof. That's great. I like that. I'm going to do that right now. So let's look at these the channels that have the most subscribers. So let's find the first streamer that actually is a sexual content streamer. And I want you guys to stop me whenever I find them. What about this one? Is this a sexual content streamer? Th0t? Wait, Th0t? No. That's a woman. I'm not talking about women. Like, we're talking about girls that make this type of content. Same thing, right? Yeah, I mean, bro, like, let's be real. What's she doing with a webcam if she doesn't want me to look at her boobs? I mean, come on, brother. Oh, I get it, but, like, let's be real, right? I mean, fuck. So where are these? Where are they? We're going to scroll down. Is this girl, does she do stuff like this? No? Okay, next. Stop me. Stop me whenever I find one. We're already out of the top 100, right? S-Fan? Okay, yeah. You get my point, right? Like, that we are already out of the top 100 top streamers. Not a single one is on there. 71. That's a woman. So, another false positive. This is just a woman. Okay? I know, guys. I know. It's just a woman. So I think that there's no evidence or data that proves that Twitch is keeping them on the platform because of them making Twitch money. I think that there's actually mountains of evidence that prove the opposite. And hopefully, by showing all of that, you'll see what I'm saying.
Oh, most of these would be broke if it wasn't for your coomer asses. Oh wow, sex workers working under capitalism? How crazy. Every man in this comment section has mommy.
Well, she's right, to an extent. If we had universal basic income and every person never had to worry about how much money they had to make, a lot less girls would do OnlyFans. There'd also be a lot less janitors, too.
Issues and gets no actions. Y'all mad she's making more money with less effort. Finding this sexual makes you're a pervert. Go to your dead mom. Smartest Twitter,
you pervert.
Again.
Go to your dead mom. With less effort. Oh shit. Sexual makes you finding this sexual makes you a pervert. Makes you're a pervert. Oh, okay. Disregarded.
Smartest Twitter user.
Yep,
sounds like you're just mad you can't manipulate a following in the same fashion. Granted, I don't condone it, but you're coming off as salty as a group of people found a loophole around the TOS and are abusing it. Frankly, these women should be praised for thinking outside the box and pandering to an audience.
I agree about that. I think that it's really impressive the kind of crazy, slimy shit they think up. I remember I even talked to Asian Bunny about this. I said, I remember she was doing this weird thing where she would get in a bikini and massage an actual Squirtle plushie. And I said, this is fucking brilliant. This is such a good idea. Yeah, it's definitely smart. Yeah, I mean, like, let's be real. It's smart. Like, you might not like it. You might not enjoy it. But it's like, the reason why it's good is because it's the Belle Delphine method. It's so fucking stupid that people watch because of how stupid it is. And it also has like this like sexual connotation to it. So then people stay. I'll be right back. All that being said, just because I might admire a process of doing something doesn't necessarily mean that something that's being done is a good thing. But yes, I can respect the hustle.
That isn't oversaturated. You can't exactly criticize them for being smart enough to know which outlet has a higher chance of yielding income. What do you mean? It takes 2 seconds to take off my shirt. Literally any woman in the world can do this, but most don't because making on a website mostly populated by minors is gross.
I don't know why people like this keep repeating the same lie that mostly there's like all these Twitter users that like just consistently repeat this lie that it's mostly populated. I remember the Quartering did this too, and I was like, bro, where did you get the evidence for it? And he's like, he deletes the tweet, which is like, I can respect that. I mean, the truth is I can, because he's like, oh, I said something that wasn't true. I'm going to delete the thing that I said that wasn't true. But like, I'm just so sick of this bullshit. Like, there's no evidence of that. And in fact, there's evidence of the opposite. Why do we keep repeating this lie? That's so easily disprovable. Like, we're not again, like we've departed from reality. What is this?
Insane. Gonna be honest, I thought you were a dude. Funny you shame the women when it's clearly women just taking advantage of the system we live under, capitalism. Yet you call yourself a socialist?
I don't think that's really true. I mean, like, taking advantage of the system we live under. What about gambling? What about like every other type of thing? Like, they're not taking advantage of a system, they're taking advantage of people. Like, let's be real, I hate this argument.
A lot of issues do come down to capitalism, but as we do so often with other things, you can criticize people exploiting this system and exploiting the loopholes in this system. We don't just hand-wave away politicians buying stock. We don't just hand-wave away Jeff Bezos making his employees pee in bottles just because we live under capitalism and it is what it is. No. Yes, ultimately, I guess it's a capitalism issue. It's a TOS.
It is and it's not. I mean, like, girls would still do this even if it wasn't capitalism because some girls just like the attention. Like, I don't know why this is so, like, I feel like it's almost like something that, like, you're not supposed to say because, like, the implication is that girls only do it. No, some girls just like being sluts and they like people treating them that way and that's what they like. It's the same as, like, some guys like being treated like fat pigs and degraded by women. You would assume that they don't like that, but some people do because people exist on a spectrum and that's just the way some people are programmed. And those women are called angels and those guys are called pigs. That's just the way it goes.
Issue, but you'd never apply this standard to people marketing gambling or crypto scams on Twitch, which is funny because like a year ago there was like a bunch of gambling drama on Twitch, and one of the biggest critiques people had was there are children on this site. You're basically selling gambling to children. So how is this any different? It's amazing that just because they're women, suddenly they get a pass. And if you call
it's just, you know, Western moral degeneracy. That's why, or moral lunacy. It's not degeneracy. It's like in Western culture, like there's so many versions of the Emperor's New Clothes. It's almost impossible to even know if you see the same reality as another person. It's insanely bad. I absolutely hate it. But yes, she's right about that. Now, I personally think that gambling is bad. Like, I think gambling is different than the Twitch Th0t thing. And then also, like, let's also keep in mind that Twitch did not ban gambling. We literally just earlier in this video showed gambling. They just banned a few websites from gambling. They didn't even solve the problem. And so, yeah, number one, there was that. Number two, gambling is harmful for everyone in a way that porn is not. Like, we're not making an argument that porn is harmful for everyone. Some people believe that it is, but those people are much more of a minority than people who believe gambling is harmful for everyone. So, yeah. Well, no, I mean, like, porn is less harmful for an adult than gambling is. I mean, of course, are we really going to say that a gambling addiction is the same as a porn addiction? And like, I mean, come on, this is crazy. So yeah, magnitude's more. Yeah, it's infinitely worse. Yeah, bro, you're coping? No, I'm not. I'm not going to make like an argument. I don't want to argue about this because I feel like anybody who's arguing about this is like being intellectually dishonest and it's just stupid. But you're not able to chase losses in porn in the same way that you are with gambling. So, for example, you can't lose money in porn and then have to spend more money to get the money back that you lost in porn. So gambling has a unique advantage of being more socially and corrosive than porn is. And that's the way that usually people that are like addicted to gambling actually ruin their life. That's the reason, is by chasing losses. And so porn doesn't have a function that behaves in the same way.
It out, you are slut-shaming or a pick-me, of course. Oh, look,
yeah.
Queen Pick-me is at it again, putting down other women.
I don't like this idea of being a pick-me. I think that girls that call other girls pick-me's are usually stupid and obnoxious, and they're just mad because people are disagreeing with them. I think that girls calling girls pick-me's for saying that certain girls shouldn't do certain things is the exact same as guys calling other guys simps whenever they defend a woman for something that the woman is right in. I view it the exact same thing. It's just a stupid word that's used to dismiss a point of view without actually having any sort of substance or argument to it.
Shu is, I'm not like other girls personified. Okay, this insult normally doesn't work, but it especially doesn't work here because I am like other girls. Most women, in fact, do not make porn on Twitch. It's incredible how criticism of even like a single woman is seen as some personal betrayal, and the only reason you would do so is male attention. I never understood why I need to feel some sort of like loyalty to complete strangers just because we were born the same sex. I don't know you b****s. I don't support all of—
Well, to be fair, I think that it is actually proven that women are more likely to exhibit own group bias more than men. I think it's like a 5-to-1 ratio even. I don't have a citation for that right now. It's just something that I read and observed maybe 10 years ago or so.
Some of you were dumb. Like as if these kids don't have access to porn at the tips of their fingertips. Trust me, if they want porn, they will get it. There aren't any toddlers on Twitch as far as I'm aware. It's 13+. Do Americans think children will be traumatized by seeing naked women? Do they not realize those same kids—
Oh, by the way, I did want to just go ahead and show this real quick because there were some people that automatically, because I made an argument, like a statistical argument, people wanted to have a source for it. 4 experiments confirmed that women's automatic in-group bias is remarkably stronger than men's investigated explanations. And this is from PubMed. It's a government website. So I just want to make sure that the thing that I was saying is actually true. You can look at it and research. It's very thoroughly researched. I've looked at this myself, and this doesn't mean that women are stupid and bad and they're going to steal all your money. It doesn't mean that women are inferior to men, but this is just simply that it's something that exists, and it should be taken into consideration. Like, this is real. It is real. Here's the proof that it's real. There it is. Now we're in reality. That's all I'm really trying to get at. Thanks for changing my life, exposing me to Pal World. Oh, I thought you were going to say changing my life and exposing me to being an incel. But yeah, there's that too, right?
Americans think children will be traumatized by seeing naked women?
Well, do Americans, like, imagine what do you think would happen if she said this in response to a man exposing himself to a child in a park? That's clearly what people think. What are we talking about here? Of course kids can be traumatized by seeing nudity. I'm losing my fucking mind. That's awfully specific. Well, yeah, because that would make it like an omega sex crime. And what I'm saying is, like, the context is obviously totally different, but the action is the same. It's, again, like these girls, and this is, you remember what I said before about like people that take your argument to an absurd level and then argue against it? But the funny thing is that whenever this girl tries to do this like straw man ad absurdum argument, she's still wrong.
They not realize those same kids can and do simply go to porn sites to jerk off? Shu, I hate to tell you this, but the average kid is seeing way worse stuff online all the time. Yeah, that's not a good thing. Let's be real. This ain't nothing to...
It's not, but, like, at the same time, I'm not really going to have a tremendous amount of, like, respect and support for somebody who is focusing on the molehill before the mountain. You're talking about Twitch being a problem when you have porn sites and their top video game search terms are children's games. That's the mountain. Let's talk about that, and then we can think about Twitch afterwards. I don't... Like, it just seems like such a distorted... Like, a distorted chain of events. A distorted chain of priorities.
Kids nowadays. I grew up with the internet as a kid/teen and was able to find stuff back in 2002.
Stuff.
Where now it's literally so easy to find stuff and most teens have phones. I don't think they would be fazed by this content. Again, that is a bad thing. Maybe it shouldn't be that way. I hate this whole, well, that's just the way things are attitude. That's how you get people coming...
Well, no, I disagree with that. I think that accepting reality and saying that's just the way things are is actually extremely good and positive for most cases. I think that there are a lot of things that you can rage against the machine as much as you want, but the machine isn't going to care about you. Like, we all talk about question marks. No, what are we doing question marks for? Are you guys stupid? So let me explain. We all know that income inequality in the country, in the US, is at the worst that it's ever been at. Like, we talk about the Gilded Age being like an indicator of like rot in culture, and we're worse than that right now. Just in general, people have less purchasing power. The worker has been removed from ownership of their labor. They no longer have any ownership of it at all. Productivity in labor has completely diverged. It started in the 70s. People can't afford houses. You can't afford health care. The entire world is just awful for people now in a lot of ways. But we can acknowledge that. But at the same time, it doesn't fucking matter, does it? Because you can think that, and you can believe that, and you can know that to be the truth, but whenever you wake up tomorrow, nothing is going to fucking change. And you have to live in the world that you exist in, not the world that you want to exist in. Like, that doesn't mean you can't move towards that direction, but it's still stupid and naive and also harmful for you in a lot of cases to try to do something and try to live in a world that doesn't even exist. That's what I'm saying. And so, like, I think it's very healthy to just, like, accept things are bad and try to live within that world. Because, again, it's real. Easier said than done? No, it's not. It's extremely easily done. You're doing it right now. We all are.
Up with these head-ass ideas, like making for kids, because kids will find porn anyway. There were so many replies to me that were like, I was watching hardcore since I was 10 and I turned out fine. Your Twitter likes are public, sir. No, you didn't. You don't see a problem with this because you are extremely desensitized, and honestly, so am I.
Yeah.
I'm no swerf. I'm no...
Yeah, I remember people telling me, like, I remember they're like, oh, Goblin Slayer episode 1 really traumatized me. I didn't even know what they were talking about. Like, I've had people, like, grab my dick at conventions, and it's like, it's just another handshake. Never think about it at all. Yes, it is what it is. Really? Yeah.
Worker, exclusionary, radical feminist, because first of all, I'm not a feminist. It's like our culture has become so overly sexual that it's not even sexual anymore. Our culture is just becoming desensitized to, and that's not a good thing. I guess I just miss the days of tasteful thigh. Because of this oversaturation, many in Gen Z are apparently craving normal relationships on the big screen. They're bored of seeing sex everywhere. To them, sex has been available one Google click away since they were like 4 years old. And it's having really negative outcomes.
No, this is true. Like, how many of you guys is like, what was one of the main concerns with Rings of Power? That they were going to add unnecessary romance plots. And this was a big criticism for The Hobbit. Because there was an unnecessary romance plot. So yeah, I think so. Halo Show, another great example. So we all know what we're talking about here.
Like, the amount of grown-ass millennials calling Gen Zers prudes and puritans is another word I saw. It's just really fucking weird. Like, I'm sorry we're all addicted.
Well, I don't think this is a generation war. I think that people feel this way a lot. I think that's why so many of us love Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I think actually one of the timeless things about Lord of the Rings is the fact that it is completely pure. Like, in 1,000 years, people will know about Lord of the Rings.
Maybe the younger generation is trying to tell us something. Someone called me a prude over this. Me. Just like with video games when I was a kid. Boys are mad because girls are playing in a space they've deemed theirs and are kicking their asses at it.
Well, they're not kicking their asses at it, I'll tell you that. None of these content creators are really that big at all. So that's not even true. This is another... This seems like a girl that has a chip on her shoulder.
So first of all, girls have already been in these spaces playing video games for years.
Yeah.
There was no issue, so it's kind of weird to be like, sorry, we're kicking your asses, boys. Like, kicking their asses at what? Being naked on camera? Being naked on camera in front of minors? I just think it's interesting and ironic how, like, 10 years ago, these same people were fighting to keep sexualized women out of video games, and now they are fighting to keep sexualized women on Twitch, a website for video games. It has come full circle.
I actually don't think that that's necessarily a contradiction, because video games are seen as men sexualizing women, and women sexualizing women is different. It's like, again, a person owning their own sexuality. But I do think that, like, they're very, very close, let's be honest.
If only Anita was here to see it. Also, imagine flipping the genders in your stupid fake fan fiction. Imagine a grown-ass man coming into, like, a female space. I don't know, what's a female space? The Stanley Cup fandom. Those cups. Imagine a man coming into the fandom.
A cup to match every out. What is this, some form of normie retardation I didn't know about? Oh, thank God I never leave the house.
Of these cups, dangling his ding-dong around, and people are like, can you stop? That's really weird. And he's just like, oh wow, you just hate men. Like, f you, go away. These women aren't stealing anything from the men. If anything, they're stealing from the women. Because the more Twitch becomes a website for this, the more this shit rises to the top. And the more normal streamers, especially women, who don't do this, sink to the bottom. If I was a female, wait, I am a female. If I was a female gamer grinding my ass off in this male-dominated space, the same way a lot of men do, and seeing what female content rises to the top of this website, I would be pretty demoralized. Look anywhere.
Sure, she's right. It's easier to get noticed as a girl if you use your body. Sure. Now, are there exceptions? Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that the softcore porn type content has a very low ceiling, but it also has a much higher floor. Like, you don't see any of these girls in, like, the top streams. No. It's mainly, like, other, like, VTubers. Like, you've got other girls like Pokimane, Valkyrae, Amaru. Like, a lot of these people are not making content like this, and they're the ones who are the top female streamers. I do think, however, that there is a similar argument that can be made that's better. And that argument is that by having the, like, more pornographic type content, you condition viewers into expecting that from all female streamers. Now, is this necessarily those female streamers' fault? Yeah, you can debate that. But at the end of the day, this is an outcome that occurs.
Not just Twitch. Work starts to appear like the only successful avenue a woman can go down. In 2014, there was a lot of talk about...
Well, it is in a lot of cases whenever your market is only men. Because people watch streams to relate to people. And it's hard to relate to somebody who's a different gender than you. That's the way it works. So yeah, it's a lot easier for women to be successful on Twitch if they are hot, because what do guys want out of girls? Well, they want hot girls. Wow.
Harassment towards women online. And my answer would always be like, just trolls, just block them, just ignore them. They're trying to get a rise out of you, which is still true, but a lot of these people aren't trolls anymore. They're your followers, your friends, your allies. You see, sexual harassment has evolved. 15 years ago, it was anonymous trolls entering your chat like, show me your tits. Now it's Jeff, he, him, politely asking if you're interested in joining OnlyFans. You know, show me your tits. For money. What is stopping me from taking off my shirt and making a ton of money? Besides, you know, a father figure. Pretty much nothing. Any woman can do this.
Sure.
Which is why so many women do this. The pressure is insane.
Well, they can't. Any woman can't do this. This girl's really hot. And so, obviously, that's why she could do it. Most girls can't do it because they're ugly. Because nobody wants to pay money to see them because they're ugly. You go to Walmart. I'd pay money not to see it.
For young women nowadays, and I honestly feel bad for them. I do. I feel bad for women. What is this? What is this strange feeling? But from their point of view, from what they've been told, society is going to sexualize them anyway. You're a woman online and you don't sexualize yourself?
This is an interesting point. I haven't really heard somebody say this before. She's saying that because there's so much messaging that women are being sexualized without their consent, it's leading them to sexualize themselves. I've never heard this. This is smart.
Okay, we got AI for that. Also, while I'm editing this, I just noticed that was an ad. That's an ad on Twitter. It says ad in the corner.
Well, of course, it's somebody doing a random ad. You know what Elon should do? Is like one day what he should do is just change all of the people who had the NFT profile pictures to this. Like, doesn't this just like... I feel like that's so much better.
Corner. Dystopian. Why not simply take the power back and make money off the inevitable? It's getting weird out there. Men and women are being pushed and pulled in so many different directions. Women are being sold this idea that they should be independent girl bosses who don't need no man. And if they want to make the choice to be sex workers, that's their choice. And I consider myself socially libertarian. So I'm all for personal choice. But how much of this really is personal choice?
I'm not sure if I'm going to agree with this point of view.
5 days out of the week, 40 hours a week.
Oh, I saw this.
I do not make enough to live on my own. I would not make enough to pay rent, water, electric, and eat.
When are things going to go back to where you can work and support?
She should start an OnlyFans. Guys, I know the solution. Bro, duh!
Support your family without stressing out. I can't do this anymore.
Like, I just got a good job. I started in September, but even with that job, I still can't do shit. I can't buy anything. I can't afford the rent these days. Like, I'm just feeling...
Bro, girls have been fucking to protect their family or to like, why do you think... Like, so this is what happened a lot, is like, they've been doing this forever. There's nothing new about this at all. Girls, that's why they like, there's like, these like girls that are single moms and they're trying to find a guy that's going to take care of their kids. Like, this is just the way it goes. It's biology, man. So all this career, yeah, kill the kid. Well, the funny thing is that in a lot of cases, the new guys do that. Maybe funny wasn't the word I should use for that. But the interesting thing about it, yeah, they do it all the time. Monkeys, gorillas do this. Wild animals, yeah. It shouldn't be a surprise to anyone.
So much despair, and I
don't think that there's coercion, like there's social coercion to do stuff like this, but based off of this same logic, you could say there's social coercion to sell drugs to kids too. I don't like the idea that women taking advantage of OnlyFans is somehow like they're being put upon by society. The reality is that women have this avenue that exists that men don't even have access to at all. Like, there's plenty of men that have these exact same problems. False equivalence? Yeah, I think so too.
Really, like, really positive, but I'm just, like, how is everyone else, and are you okay? Because the answer's probably no.
We're gonna just start an OnlyFans. In 48 hours, how much money did you make?
48 hours.
Oh my God.
I made a little over $1 million.
I thought this one was especially sick. Let me see if I can find it.
Oh my God.
I made a little over $1 million.
Yeah. So the sick thing about this one was that she did this whenever she turned 18, and that's whenever she made the most money. You want to put the pieces together? Man. And she was, you know, known in media whenever she was younger, too. That's crazy. Spawn camping? I haven't heard that one before. That's new.
It's an ass. Why wasn't I born a girl? Their lives are on rookie. I wish I was a girl to make easy money like that. Women have it so easy, it's not even funny. There is a lie perpetuated by people on the internet that OnlyFans is this get-rich-quick scheme, but that couldn't be further from the truth.
It's not.
The average woman
she's gonna show. Yeah.
on OnlyFans only makes $180 a month,
Look at that.
and that's average. Most are making way
Yeah,
less.
so the reason for that is because, again, I want to go back to my argument earlier that if you're fat and ugly, people don't want to pay money for pictures of you. So there's a lot of girls that do OnlyFans that are ugly, and so they don't make a lot of money. Now, some girls that are really hot do make a lot of money, but it's not really just because they're a girl, it's because they're also really hot. And that's the more important part.
Than that. But this get-rich-quick lie is not being sold by only random people on the internet. It's also being sold by OnlyFans itself. Kiss that 99-cent ramen goodbye and say hello to endless opportunities on OnlyFans.
Wow.
This is just the...
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, I bet that works. It's the personality that makes them so much money. The best ones hustle your emotions. You're right. You're absolutely right about that. The market's super saturated, so it's even harder to get noticed. So what are ugly girls going to do that they also get discriminated on the work market? It's a double L on life. What's the solution? There is no solution. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's no moral to be told. There's no, lesson to be learned. There's no, happy ending. There's just sadness of pain. You see an animal that breaks its leg and then it dies. Like, that's the end of the story. There's not an episode 2. That's it. That's it. Sometimes things suck, man. Yeah, it's a sick little gazelle at the back of the pack. Yeah, bro, and that's the one the lions eat. Yeah, no respawn. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah. So I've always thought that being a hot girl is probably easier than being a hot guy. But being an ugly girl is probably harder than being an ugly guy. I've never been a girl before. Actually, that's not true. Remember, I did that one stream. But besides that, that's like my read on it. Debatable again? Absolutely debatable. This is just my read on it. I'm just talking, really.
2023 version of, hey lady, I see you're having financial problems.
Yeah.
Say, can you dance? I have a couple of friends who are pretty famous OnlyFans models, and they've disclosed to me that allegedly people who work for OnlyFans have approached them, telling them to post about how much money they made or show off expensive things they bought with money they made by being an OnlyFans model in order to recruit more women to be OnlyFans models. This includes showing off handbags, expensive clothes, makeup, cars, and even houses. Like, I just bought my first
There it is.
house thanks to OnlyFans. It's disgusting to do this in general, but especially disgusting to do this during a housing crisis. It's just evil. It's incredibly, incredibly rare you can make a living doing this, just like YouTube. And I could not imagine if YouTube sold itself like, tired of being poor? Become a YouTuber. Like, what? Now, why would they do this? Why would OnlyFans manipulate and entice poor, desperate people like this? Oh, that's why. Of course.
I really need to, bro. I need to start working harder. I need to figure something else out.
It is. That's always why.
Yeah.
In a way, we are all selling our bodies to labor. We are all whether you work at a fast food place.
It's crazy to think that that guy is the biggest pimp of all time in all history. He is the biggest pimp.
You're a lawyer.
That's
or a
nuts.
YouTuber. You're a we're all for capital. At the end of the day, it's a job. These Twitch girls, these OnlyFans girls, they're getting their bag. Like me, like you, like everyone else. And I guarantee you, a lot of the men who about OnlyFans models would do it instantly if they could. You would all be and why wouldn't you? Go to college and go 100K in debt for a useless degree?
Well, you would, because after these girls get too old that people don't want to pay pictures for them anymore, then they don't have any workable skills and the rest of their life is awful. I'm old enough now, unfortunately, to have seen girls that I grow up with have that happen. Fuck, yeah, Cody's in chat. Yeah, but we grew up together, bro. Like... I go on Facebook, I see some of these girls, man, and it's like, god damn, these are the middle-aged moms now posting Minion memes, and I went to high school with this bitch. Like, oh my god, I gotta lay down. Jesus. She got 3 kids and 4 baby daddies. And the funny thing, Cody, is you know the exact girl that I'm talking about. You know the exact one that, let's be honest, all of us simped for her. She was so hot. Yep, absolutely. Yep. God, fuck, man. Everyone, yes. Everyone, absolutely.
That won't get you a job. Or this. Why wouldn't you? Break your back and spirit working a 9-to-5 that you absolutely hate and get no satisfaction from. Or this. Yeah. Why wouldn't you? And that, for the modern woman, is probably the most black-pilling question right now. Why wouldn't you?
Why
get
not?
exploited or exploit yourself. So is it really the Th0t's fault? Taking advantage of a market to make it in an overwhelmingly male-dominated field? Is it really her fault for trying to survive in this unforgiving world, in a society that will
Of course, everything's always your fault because you're doing it. Is there a reason that they do it that's outside of themselves? Yes. Are there explanations that explain their intent? Yes. But is it their fault? Yes, it is. They did it. Never take somebody's autonomy away from them.
Exploit and degrade her anyway.
And you know
is
she's
really
going to say this.
her fault? Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
yes, it is.
Like,
get off Twitch.
Yeah.
It isn't for the end. So that was that video. I have been wanting to talk about this subject for years now. What do you guys think about this? Do you also feel that desensitization feeling I'm talking about? And how old were you when you first found this kind of stuff? Has it affected your life or relationships at all? But who cares about relationships? Who cares about real women when we can have an AI girlfriend? Am I right?
That's right.
Anyway, I will see you guys soon with a new video, possibly about that. New video for Valentine's Day. Okay, bye!
I think that I would really appreciate if more people like, and like maybe it's because like I'm really into Twitch and so like I understand it pretty well, but like it seems like most people have a lot of misconceptions about Twitch that I feel like it's almost like popular to be unaware of that. I think she brings up a lot of good points. The video, yeah, it's a good video. The truth is, like, if you look at a lot of these people that are like insulting her, they're like really fucking stupid. Like these people are just the dumbest people ever. I don't agree with everything she says, making content, so it's good. I don't have a, like, you know, I say this all the time, right? I mean, if somebody's making content, I actually appreciate videos that I disagree with more than videos that I don't, because they're interesting to me. Yeah, so I mean, I've known about this girl for like fucking a long time, right? I mean, she was really popular on like 4chan like 10 years ago. That's how I know. And so most of the people insulting her are assuming that she's a fat, lonely guy. Don't know she's a married woman. Well, yeah. And like, that's the insult, right? And the reason why these girls insult people by saying that they're ugly or they're, you know, they don't have a boyfriend is because the only method of currency that they understand is sex. And so that's why they use it as an insult. It's because that's their only form of self-value. I don't believe in the way she said it, but I believe in the end goal, moderate the porn. I think you should get the kids off the platforms. I think that's really that's the disease. This is a symptom. I don't care about this. And if you want to look at symptoms, this is like number 75, and numbers 1 through 50 are 1,000 times worse. So I'm not going to have any sort of energy for like banning these girls off of Twitch in like a real way, because I just feel like there's so many other things that are 1,000 times worse. So that's generally what I think. So you know, like, games kid, too bad. Yeah, there you go. And parents need to be parents. There's never going to be a way that you can solve that better than the parents can. That's it. And there's the video right there. Make sure to give it a like. This is great. In Utah, they added real age verifications for kids. Yeah, I saw that. I wonder, so what do you think would happen if you asked a 12-year-old in Utah if he's able to access porn or not? You ask a 12-year-old guy that lives in that state, what do you think they'd be able to do? Do you think they're able to do it? I bet they are. I fucking bet they are. Careful? Yeah, I mean, like, again, everybody always winces at this kind of stuff because it's like, oh, yeah, I mean, obviously you probably shouldn't ask kids if they're looking at porn, right? It's fucking weird. But, like, I just want to live in reality here, okay? Like, these laws probably don't do a whole lot, but at least they exist. It's the truth. Yeah, it's still the truth. I just want to live in reality. That's all I'm asking.